Today's video, I ran polls on YouTube and I ran polls on Twitter asking you who would score more points out of these battles on the 2023 grid. And these are the results. That is today's video. The first one was Johann Zarco versus Marco Bezzecchi. You've got Johann Zarco winning this one on YouTube. So everyone who voted on YouTube has just edged this one for Zarco, 58% to 42%. And over on Twitter, couldn't be split. It was 50-50. Now, on these polls, guys, on Twitter, there were one-day polls because you could set like a time limit. On YouTube, you can't set a time limit on the polls or I didn't know how. So as far as I know, these polls are potentially still running. This was just the percentages that I had when I wrote them down earlier before doing this video. So now Zarco just edging it here. I tend to agree, but I do think this will be close. This will be close. I think Bezzecchi could take a step this season. Zarco, obviously a top rider. Is the rest of the Ducati young guys going to start catching him now? Maybe. I mean, we'll just have to wait and see. That's how sport works. My next pairing was the Did Ducati Make the Right Choice pairing, which is Enea Bastianini versus Jorge Martin. And a majority of you on both YouTube and Twitter have decided that Ducati have probably made the right choice here. 89% to 11 on the YouTube poll in favour of Enea Bastianini. And then on the Twitter poll, 75% to 25. Interestingly, there are people out there that think Martin will get the better of Bastianini this season. And I don't think it's as far-fetched as it sounds. I know Bastianini's gone up to the factory and he had an amazing season last season. But Martin is quick. He's quick. And if he can just piece together a bit of consistency running towards the podium positions, then this could be closer than people think. But I also still agree Bastianini will probably score more points. Next one, Taka Nakagami versus Augusto Fernandez. Rookie Augusto. This one maybe isn't a little that fair, but I mean, the votes weren't too far apart. Taka Nakagami edging both polls. So on YouTube, he got 59% of the vote, and on Twitter, he got 56% of the vote. I'm potentially expecting less out of Fernandez than a lot of you guys. Not that I think Taka's necessarily going to have the greatest season ever, but I think the experience, the Honda probably generally is maybe a little better. Rookies going on to these KTMs has not been a successful thing at all. So just on that kind of form, I'm probably giving it Naka. But look, hopefully for Fernandez, he can buck the curse of the KTM rookie. Or gas, or whatever I want to call it. Next one's the potential world title fight. It is Pecco Bagnaia versus Fabio Quartararo. And these results were interesting. Now on YouTube, clear win for Pecco Bagnaia. 70% of the vote. We go over to our Twitter poll, our one-day Twitter poll. Fabio's actually edged at 54% of the vote. I don't agree with that. I think the Ducati's just too good. I think the Yamaha probably won't make enough of a step, and I think it'll be similar to last year where Fabio's riding the wheels off it, but really you can't really get him. He might grab a couple of wins, but that's probably it. But we've not seen testing yet. We don't know what Yamaha's bringing, and I think a few of you maybe that have voted for Fabio are maybe thinking that just how good he can be is enough to get him up there, and just a slight improvement maybe from the Yamaha. Maybe they give him a little bit more power. I mean, they probably won't, but if they do, he's a real chance to take it to Pecco. The next pairing I put together was Maverick Vinales on the Aprilia versus Luca Marini on the Ducati. Both polls have gone in favour of Maverick Vinales in this case. 64 to 36 on YouTube and 53 to 47 on Twitter. Now, a few people here thinking Marini might have a chance against Maverick, and I do think that, actually. I actually am going against the vote on this one. I think the Ducati, I think Maverick, I don't know. I think Maverick could be the third best Aprilia this year. And I think Marini, with his run of results coming to the end of the season, consistent sort of top 5th to 10th place kind of area that he gets himself into. If he can just start doing that earlier in the season, then I can't see Maverick being there all the time. I think Maverick's probably got podium pace at times, but then other times I think he's going to be like 14th. But anyway, yeah, you guys have gone for Maverick and we'll see. The next pairing here is Fabio Di Giannantonio versus Raul Fernandez. Raul Fernandez looking for a new lease of life on the Aprilia, and I think this is a good move for him, and I think he will be good. Now, as far as our voting went, Digi has just edged the YouTube poll 52-48, so almost even split on that one. And he's also won the Twitter poll at 64% to 36%. Now, this is, I'm assuming, all based on the level of the Ducati compared to the level of the Aprilia with someone on it who's never been on it before. So Digi a year under his belt. I also think this will go the other way for this. I think Ralph Fernandez, there's a top rider in there. We don't forget these things. I think the KTM was rubbish. I don't think they got, much out of it, these kids, when they go on it. And I think the Aprilia is going to be a lot better for him. And I think Digi is going to be probably the last Ducati. So the next pairing was Franco Morbidelli and Pol Espargaro. This has gone well in the favour of Pol Espargaro here. Moving to the Gas, the second KTM team. Tech Trois. Pol Espargaro picking up 63% of the YouTube vote and 75% of the Twitter vote. I'm going to predict a big upturn for Franco again, like I do every year, because I just believe in him. I just love him. I think he's a nice young man and I want him to do well. And Pol, maybe this is a return to KTM, Pol Espargaro, KTM. Maybe he'll get back to that form and he'll be riding around with Binder at that level. I don't know. I'd like to think Franco Morbidelli on a factory Yamaha is going to beat Pol Espargaro on a gas sponsored KTM. But you guys obviously think you're seeing the Pol Espargaro that was before, and I respect that. I'm going to see the Franco that was before, and I'm going to take Franco in this one. So Aleix Espargaro versus Miguel Oliveira. Who picks up more points? They're both on the Aprilia. One in the factory team, one in the RNF team. You've gone 59% Aleix's favour on YouTube, and you've gone 67% in Aleix's favour on Twitter. Aleix is going to be hard to beat. It's going to be difficult for anyone to come onto this bike and actually beat him because it just is his bike. It's his bike. I agree. I think Aleix will score more points this year. I think Oliveira looks good in early testing, and we know he can ride. We know the guy's quick. I agree. I don't think he's going to be good enough in his first season. Maybe if he, maybe we just be like, I'll just learn off of Aleix this year and be primed to take his place when he retires, which could be soon. He's getting on. So here is one of the... is it our only teammate battle that I managed to get away with? Let's have a look. Yes. It's our only teammate battle. It's Brad Binder and Jack Miller. I only put these together because I thought I do think it'd be interesting. Now on YouTube, you've gone heavily in the favour of Binder at 76% of the vote. On Twitter though, and we're not seeing this very often where we get different results on different platforms, but 54% of you gone for Miller. Now, as much as I'd like to say I think Jack Miller would beat or score more points than Brad Binder this year, I think Binder's like the KTM Aleix Espargaro. I don't think you beat him. I just don't think you can. I know he doesn't qualify that well, so maybe Miller can get him there a few times and maybe get a few positions between them at the starter races. But yeah, I just think Sunday Binder on the KTM, he's coming up through the field and he's catching up. And I think he will score more points. I like that a few of you have backed Miller in here. There's obviously a top rider there. They're both top riders. I think it will be close-ish, but I just think Binder's time on the KTM will edge him over Jack here. But I would love to see Jack do really well, obviously. I've got his little hat there as well. Now we're on to a very interesting one. It's Alex Rins and Joan Mir. Another one where the result has gone different depending on where the vote came from. So on YouTube, 62% to Rins. On Twitter, 54% to Mir. So I guess it's, do you think just being in the factory team for Mir is going to be like enough support and stuff like that to get him better results than what Rins will get? I don't know, because Rins has finished last season as the more informed guy. Maybe it'll be a nice change of scenery for Mir to just sort his head out and get back to finishing with the consistency that we know he can, that delivered him a world championship, let's not forget. I'm partial to Rins here, although Rins frustrates me. You never know what he's going to do. Could crash the first 5 races. We don't know. He could win a race early on. We just don't know what Alex Rins is going to do. And I think that's exciting. I think he will score more points than Joan Mir. Weirdly. Maybe I do. Again, this will be close. That's why I put them together. Because it could be a close one. And our final pair is the brothers, Mark and Alex Marquez. In hindsight, maybe shouldn't have put these two together because there's obviously gone well in the favour of Mark. 84% of the vote on YouTube and 89% on Twitter. This is the biggest margins that we've seen. This was the pairing that gave me the idea to do the video though, because I was just like, I wonder if people think that injury recovery Mark and Honda potentially being a little bit shit is Alex's one chance to actually do better than his brother, because he's going to be on a really solid Ducati and in a team that's got some decent form coming into this season. They know what they're doing. Is this his chance to beat on track Marc Marquez? Can he beat his brother on track? Now that I really think about it, actually a bit silly. I don't think he's any chance to beat Mark, because I think Mark will probably at most races at least be finishing halfway up the Ducati Cup. So if he's finishing like behind the 4th best Ducati that race, or the 3rd best Ducati or whatever, I don't think Alex is anywhere near that. Like, I think Alex is probably 6th, 7th best, potentially 7th or 8th best on the Ducati. So when you look at it like that, when you really think about it, he's probably not going to get anywhere near Mark, because he'd have to at least beat his Ducati teammates first, because I don't think Mark is finishing behind all 8 Ducati. Yeah. Mark, I think Mark, you think Mark, we all think Mark. Hooray. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Cheers.